I wanted to talk a little bit more about the strategy that you use and share a personal story that I have because I dealt with something similar to this.
Yep.
I don't know, it was maybe about 15 years ago, right? So I used to have these three people that used to work with me. Two of them were employed with me. One of them was working with one of the other guys. And we were working on a project, and I would go over to the other guy's house. His wife would be there. We'd have a conversation. We'd talk business. Food was ordered. You know, she'd hang out for a bit, but leave. Long story short, they ended up doing some underhanded things, which I can't talk about because of the settlement. But similar to how Andrew dealt with this, scenario, one of the strategies that I use when I had to go legal on this, and I did have to go legal, was I named the guy's wife. Right.
Yep.
She wasn't going to be on the business contract, but she was at the house and she was tied into the conversations from time to time. It was a strategy that my lawyer talked to me about at length, and I got further counsel on it as well. But it ended up working, and he ended up settling simply because the missus was involved and she didn't want to get dragged into the lawsuit, have to go to court, look bad on public record because of her profession. There's all this other stuff, too now. But when it comes to conflict, okay, guys, and this is true for anything. You're going through the divorce machine, you're dealing with a business strategy. I don't think anything should be off the table. Okay. You want to win. You want to play to win. That's what playing to win looks like. Cobra Tate is your pinnacle example of this. Like, this is the alpha god sort of strategy that we're talking about right now, right? Like, why would you mess with a championship kickboxer publicly and then back down that quickly? Right. Clearly what you did worked.
And you nailed it, because we said earlier about how my boys will go to war for me without thinking, right? And no one's going to ask any whys. As soon as I said that man upset me, nobody was asking me what he did. Everyone was just out to hurt him as much as possible, right? And it's kind of the same, because if you don't have that network, they also won't take fire for you the same. So you just nailed it, right? His wife, he settled because his wife, you instilled cowardice, you instilled fear inside of his own camp, because now his wife is in his ear. Oh, I don't need this. Just settle, blah, blah, blah. That's another problem. If you don't have a serious circle of brothers, if they attack your brothers or the people who are close to you, they're going to turn on you very, very quickly. And that's another thing you need to consider. Like, if someone were to try and tie my brother into something that involved me, my brother would be like, good, because it does involve me. Good. Like, he'd be happy for it. But most people are not like that. And that's where it's more and more important. We talk about a lot of things in this kind of space and this side of Twitter, but they all kind of tie back to the same thing. And they all tie back to masculine networks and masculine support systems in which you have men of honor and to a degree,
real men of honor is what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Because men used to be bound by something, Richard. They were either bound under a flag of a country, or bound by language, or bound by the need for survival. We used to be bound together. And if you don't have brothers that you're at least bound to by something, if you're all just in it purely for your own interest and you meet, 3 times a year and you have a bit of wine, whatever, that's different. You need to, and this is one of the things I really do thank, like my entire life has been full of tribulation, but I really do thank my upbringing and the fact that I grew up in a very impoverished place, because the reason gangs exist are for survival, man. This is why people join them. This is like, I grew up with needing guys who I knew would fight next to me. And just because I have money, nothing about my mindset has changed. It's exactly the same. And I think a lot of people try and pretend it's not real. Like guys like Colton or Ryan Stone or whoever want to sit there and pretend that Twitter is the be all and end all of the world. It certainly isn't. Twitter's a website. There's real people. I'm a real person. I'm sovereign. I exist. One day you might see me. It's the guy next to you prepared to take an ass kicking along with you. Because if he's not, why is he even your friend? Like this goes beyond. So Colton Dobson was a fun little thought experiment. And it was fun for me to mess with. But it goes to show everything you're saying about the people who are close to you. They're either on, firstly, they need to be on your side, but secondly, they're your weakness. Mm-hmm. Look at what I did to Scott Adams. You see Scott Adams' wife?
Yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah, that was great. Can I tell the story? So Andrew and Scott Adams, and if you know who Scott Adams is, I mean, he's on Twitter. He's very popular. He does coffee shows and blah, 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 writes books. And he's married to a younger, very attractive woman. She's what, like 25, 30?
Something like that, yeah.
And he's got to be into his 50s, maybe even 60. He's significantly older than him.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that relationship, I knew something wasn't right.
Yeah. I mean, like right off the get-go. I mean, he's neither alpha or beta bucks, but yeah, he was running his mouth, and all of a sudden, there's a quick like 25-second screen video on your phone of her and you exchanging DMs with hearts and emojis and come on over sort of thing. Just like that.
There you go.
This is the man's wife, right? Because he was running his mouth. So, I mean, it's beyond me why people try to flick boogers at you. I mean, you've clearly proven yourself, but I guess it gets lonely at the top, and stuff like this needs to continue to happen to make sure that you maintain your crown, I suppose.
A lot of people aren't introspective enough to truly understand how weak they are. Like, I have genuinely done serious work on myself, and I've also consulted with some of my friends, which are extremely high-level individuals. We've done a lot of work to see exactly how vulnerable we are. I know my vulnerabilities, right? I know what they are. I've analyzed myself. I know what you can find out about me online. I know my weaknesses in regards to females or friends or children or offspring. I've literally sat and analyzed myself. If you were to attack me, because I'm not scared. Listen, there's been points in my life where I had real people trying to kill me. And I'm talking about real people. I'm talking about Albanian gangsters with murder charges. So I'm not scared about Ryan Stone on Twitter. He's nobody. I've been through it for real. So I've analyzed my life. Most people haven't. Scott Adams has never sat there and thought, what's my weakest point? Well, it's clearly my wife who doesn't love me. I mean, that's a pretty obvious one to me. I looked at the dude and thought, okay, that's how I piss him off. That's just going to take 10 seconds. Boom, boom, boom.
How many people do you think actually go through a risk assessment to see how vulnerable they are, like what their weak points are? I'd say it's really low.
I don't think anybody does, because just like nearly everything else in the world, when people identify they have a problem, then they feel implored to act, and people are scared of action. So they like the ostrich tactic. Oh, it's fine, and hide their heads. They don't want to sit there and go, okay, what dirt on me really exists? Okay, where's my weak points? Okay, who would actually turn on me? Okay, who would fold under pressure? Okay, which of my business interests could be seriously damaged by, I mean, even me and the way I make money. I know you can't really damage me. Oh, you're going to say the casino owner's a bad guy, are you? Oh, yeah, I'm sure no one's going to go to my casino. Who gives a shit, right? Like, so I know my weaknesses, right? And even like a few people have been clever and tried. They've messaged some of my girlfriends and tried to get me caught cheating and all this other crap. That's all. That doesn't work because my girls know the game. So I have all myself's pretty tied up, but most people aren't. Colty never considered for a second. He didn't even know his weaknesses. If you don't even know where you're going to get hit, it's going to hurt twice as hard.
Hey, again, dude, like, I was impressed with how much mouth was run. I was like, okay, well, this is going to happen then. And then how quickly it just went quiet and disappeared. And Andrew and I had a conversation and worked it all out. That was rapid, man. Like, that was impressive. That was impressive.
He looked out the window. He shit himself. His mother looked out the window. She shit herself. His whole family's in fear, and it has to come to an end. Like, what else is it going to be?
Yeah.